I'm always dubious of when marketing agencies decide to enter into the ADA website compliance and accessibility space. And it's not because agencies can't offer great accessibility services, it's because they usually don't. They usually don't have the requisite experience, expertise, knowledge, skill, and attention to detail to really help clients in terms of WCAG 2.1 AA conformance and best practices for ADA compliance. So the other night, I was looking through Google News for ADA website compliance stories, and I came across one that is on the screen with me now. This is from Total Food Service. The title is Sherry Combe led elite strategies revolutionizing ADA web compliance for hotel and restaurant groups. So whenever I see someone's revolutionizing ADA website compliance, I'm very interested. I want to look into this. So opening up the article, we have the same title. And then the article starts with a lot of background. So talk about the Web Content Accessibility Guidelines, the Americans with Disabilities Act. Then we have the entrepreneur here, Jackie Sherry Combe, who's the co-founder and COO of Elite Strategies. We get into her background, and then we get down to close to the middle of the article, and I think this is a press release. So it says, the quote is, sometimes clients think they need just a creative team or a development team for particular needs, Combe described. But at Elite Strategies, we recognize and position our value as a full service company that pulls expertise from different professional walks of life. So that's already a red flag for me, because when you have a full service company, you very likely aren't paying close enough attention to accessibility because you're doing so many other things. So it's SEO, it's social media, it's web design, whatever else it is. You have all of these other things, and then what happens is a lot of marketing agencies see this as a way to increase revenue and to potentially add new clients and then transition them over to existing services. But when it comes to ADA compliance and accessibility, this isn't something that you can take on flippantly. If you do, it's going to be through white labeling, and even at that, you're going to make sure that you want to have that you get a partner who can actually fulfill the services competently. So, like I said, this is a very involved space, one that requires a lot of experience and expertise and knowledge, and you really have to pay close attention to detail. Otherwise, there could be problems that result, especially given the ultra litigious legal landscape. So one red flag, full service company. Another was, the title revolutionizing ADA web compliance, especially for someone who hasn't been in this space. For them to revolutionize anything would be unprecedented. But continuing on, we have this dynamic skill set is invaluable, especially in view of stringent ADA regulations. And then it continues on. There's a quote. The situation became very serious, and several restaurant and hotel groups found themselves in litigation due to ADA non-compliance. And that's a quote from Combe. But given our established digital expertise and experience, we were able to provide evidence for clients' legal teams, document the client's remedial actions to make their websites ADA compliant, and help them settle their cases at significantly lower amounts. And then we have a quote from Amanda Fugazi, last name spelled Fugazy, who is a leading industry attorney specializing in restaurant law. And the quote is, "We can't say enough about the invaluable role that Jackie and her team have helping my clients, or that Jackie and her team have played in helping my clients in the restaurant industry meet ADA compatibility for their websites." So what I'm thinking as I'm reading these two quotes is what actually happened here. And because a lot of times, people don't even, the client doesn't know whether or not that the service provider has helped. They're really relying upon the service providers, the service provider stating that these services are going to do what they do. But that's the quote. We'll continue on. Elite Strategies offers a range of services from text and images changes to ensuring proper headings and even providing keyboard navigation options. So this quote for me is also a red flag. It's not that there's anything necessarily wrong with this, but if you're offering accessibility services, you're probably in an article like this, you're probably not going to list out a few different accessibility considerations inside of a quote like this. It just, to me, there's something off when I'm reading it. It's not that there's anything per se wrong. It's just when I'm reading this is another red flag to me. It's like, why wouldn't you say WCAG 2.1 AA conformance? Why is there it's sort of like a random gathering of accessibility considerations? It says these changes not only make the website more accessible and user-friendly for individuals with disabilities, but also improve overall user experience. And then these quotes are apparently from Fugazi. It says, Combe could not have anticipated this ADA-induced turn, nor prepared to provide these services by obtaining a specific degree. There are no certifications or formal educational programs for this kind of work, she noted. Actually, what about IAAP certification, right? So there are formal certifications that you can receive for web accessibility work. Now, I'm not saying that you have to have them, but Maybe she's not unaware of IAAP, but there are certifications for web accessibility. Um, we had just worked with so many websites and clients and established trusting relationships with them, and that they started coming to us with these concerns. Um, Many clients lack the time and expertise to keep up with the ADA, WCAG, and other digital and legal developments. As a result, a lot of remedial work now takes place in litigation. At that point, there's nothing you can do to stop it completely concluded. So right there is something that a lot of digital companies actually do. Digital accessibility companies do. They make this seem more confusing and chaotic than it is. While it may be confusing or there's a learning curve to understanding just the ADA compliance and web accessibility space, especially as a client when you or a website owner when you first start to get into it, this isn't things aren't constantly changing, right? Even when there are changes, there really aren't. It's not really that much that has changed. So an example is with the recent update to ADA Title II regulation. Nothing really changed other than maybe some additional requirements, but when it comes to the standard, the technical standard, WCAG 2.1 AA has been the best practice for years. So that didn't really, when I read that, I wasn't like, oh, well, this radically changed everything. I'm not sure. Now I have to go back and email everybody on my newsletter list. No, things are they basically stay the same. WCAG 2.2 was released. Okay. It added 6 additional success criteria and conformance level AA. And even at that, it's still not even, WCAG 2.2 is like a level up. If you're at 2.1 AA, you're already following best practice. And as I said, ADA Title II, in those updates, the DOJ chose to go with the 2.1 AA technical standard. So things are constantly changing. There may be new laws, there may be new regulations, but what does everything ultimately come back to? WCAG 2.1 AA is the best practice, and it has been for years. And if you get to the point where you are 2.1 AA conformant, that is excellent. And then you can take it a step further and go with 2.2. And so 2.2 may be required. It may be incorporated into some future digital accessibility laws. But if you're already 2.1 AA conformant, it's not that much more additional work to get to 2.2. So that's it right here, right? We have this person who's positioned themselves as they offer a full service marketing and possibly web design agency that is the full service agency that's offering all types of services. It says, to conclude here, it says, depending on the case, quote, we can build and manage a site, perform an audit, support with design and development, and create a marketing plan to maintain and grow the site, all in compliance with ADA regulations. Oh, and then there's one other quote. And then there's another quote here that says, depending on the state of a client's site, will likely need to adjust their font sizing and colors. That's a strange thing to focus in on for accessibility. Font sizing is not usually something that comes up. Also, a specific font size isn't technically required by the Web Content Accessibility Guidelines, just that you're able to increase the font size without causing negative effects. So keying in on font sizing is strange to me. And then readjust their content in a clearer lineage. I don't even know what that means exactly. Readjust content in a clearer lineage. Title, that's technically inaccurate wording, which is, I understand people say things or write things that are technically inaccurate, but generally it's understood what they're getting at. But for someone who is putting themselves in a light that they are an expert, it's not going to be title tag images. It's not actually the title; it's the alt attribute. And then let's see here. There is a quote that you can't use a third-party plugin, so no widgets to make your website automatically compliant. That's good to have in there. And then, so I think the last thing I wanted to cover was just that we have in this last sentence that I read off, we can build and manage a site, perform an audit, support with design and development, and create a marketing plan to maintain and grow the site, all in compliance with ADA regulations. So there you have a sweeping together of some additional services, which is what I think when marketing agencies enter this space, that's their end goal, to add additional services to the original work on website accessibility and ADA compliance, which is fine. But it gets to my point earlier, is that marketing agencies see this as a way to grow revenue and convert clients into other services, when this is something you need to have absolutely locked down before you decide to offer the services. Because not only can it hurt the clients, which is the most important thing, but it can also come back to yourself if you are holding yourself out as an expert and offering these services, and then your clients nevertheless are sued. That can come right back to you. But now let's go to EliteStrategies.com. So I will include a link to Elite Strategies as well as the article that I just went through. But I'm on Elite Strategies, and all I'm going to do is run a Wave scan. And by the way, of course, like Wave only flags a limited subset of accessibility issues. But when we run a wave scan, we come back with 46 errors, 39 contrast errors, and 26 alerts. So looking at the errors, we have 1 missing alternative text, 35 linked images missing alternative text, 10 empty links, 39 very low contrast errors, 2 images with title, 4 skipped heading levels. These are alerts now. 2 possible headings, 2 broken same page links, a suspicious link text, 13 redundant links. So this is just what is flagged by a scan. I haven't gone through the website. I'm really making a point here that marketing agencies will enter into this space and they're not paying close enough attention to detail. And here, if I was to have a press release or, whatever form of article this is, if I was to have this published highlighting my ability to help clients with making their websites ADA compliant, I would definitely make sure that I had 0 errors returning on the wave scan as a very preliminary first step. And this is the homepage. I haven't gone to any other pages, but then I'm going to toggle off the wave results, which, by the way, to be fair, the wave results, sometimes they will have more errors, and then other times it will be less depending on if the results, if the scan was run properly, right? So I'm not saying this is conclusive, but this is what is showing right now. And going to the Elite Strategies menu, we can see here, let's see, services. If we go to services and let's see, I think, now I saw that they had ADA compliance services recently. So let's see if that page is still up actually. Learn SEO, services, here we go, ADA compliance. And then it says website ADA compliance include everyone, make your website accessible, make your website compliant with ADA and WCAG 2.2 standards. Now, if somebody's offering this service, I usually assume that their website is not going to have, let's say, over 40 errors on Wave on the homepage. We just get here to into some different selling points. It says accessibility audit and analysis, remediation and implementation, ongoing support and maintenance. And then we have some questions. What is web accessibility? Why bother with it for my business? So we have the oversold SEO business case here. How much does it cost? So this is really what I wanted to get at today. It's just that we have a marketing agency that is, and I think this is a more extreme case, but here we have a marketing agency focusing in on and keying in on ADA compliance, and this is a service they're going to sell, but entering into the space, revolutionizing this space, but then having just errors that can be flagged by automation on your homepage, literally dozens of errors. I at this point, it's like you have to this is why I'm so dubious of marketing agencies, because so many of them rush into the space, and we've seen others where they are affiliates for widgets, and so they'll promote the widgets, and some may not know that they're actually promoting something that is working against the website owner, and the fact that some plaintiffs' law firms specifically target websites with overlay widgets installed. But they've decided to enter into the space because they got excited about it and the potential, and telling everybody they need to make their website ADA compliant, and then this is the way that they're going to hopefully grow their agency. This is problematic because you have marketing agencies that really, they're trying to do too much. They don't have a focus, and so they've decided to add in ADA compliant services. But when you examine them closely, they don't actually have what is necessary to really execute on this space and consult with clients and tell clients exactly what they need to do. We have WCAG 2.2 here. I didn't see WCAG 2.2 in the press release type of article, and I don't see any other mention of the Web Content Accessibility Guidelines. It might be under these one of these sections here at the bottom where it's like the frequently asked questions. Let's see. We offer. Did it say is my website accessible? We offer free accessibility audits. So there are no free audits. Nobody audits your website for nobody actually audits your website for free. How much does it cost? Yeah. So that's what I want to get to. This is a more extreme example. It's usually not. We don't usually have this polarizing of an example of why I'm dubious of marketing agencies when they decide to offer ADA compliant services. But here, I wanted to go over this. It was an interesting press release, and then just going through the website, noting just the issues that can be flagged by scan. And so that's all for this video. I will include some additional information and links to the different pages I have shared in this video.